This is some of the testing that we did on a live project, now resolved obviously, where there was a dispute between two gentlemen, one of whom either had an accident with a chainsaw or deliberately cut the other man with the chainsaw. Now, we know the two scenarios that were tested in this situation. One was dropped from about 10 feet from our drop tower onto this simulated arm, and the other, at full throttle, was purposely cut through. You might know that there are internal braking mechanisms of a chainsaw when you release the trigger. And so what I can tell you is that when I dropped the chainsaw and I let go of it, it was in free fall. You might reason that the chain's now slowing down. You might also reason that as it picks up speed, there's some momentum there. So let's look at these high density of striations and these low density of striations. What does that mean? You might argue that this is a faster cut or that this speed of cut is actually faster on the left-hand side because it's moving through the tissue faster. But let's also take a look at this concept. The amount of bone that breaks off after the striations is highly related to the amount of load applied to that bone. So what does that tell you about the speed of object that's cutting through it? If the weight of the object is similar in both scenarios, and the velocity is higher in one of these scenarios, the momentum must also be higher. And if the momentum's higher, which injury is highly related to, then the amount of load is also higher, okay? Because the change in momentum is equal to the force impulse. So here, a high load was applied here, and that means a large force impulse here. And we've got a very large spread between the striations, which probably means this is both traveling through the tissue quite quickly and also that the chain speed is quite slow. So which one of these is deliberate and which one of these was the fall scenario or the accidental scenario? If you guessed the left-hand side was the fall, you would be correct. And if you guessed the right-hand side was not the fall, was the deliberate cut, you would also be correct. Now, how does this relate back to our case? Well, I had to have a difficult talk with our client because we were hired by the attorney that was supposed to be defending the orchard owner who said that he slipped and dropped his chainsaw. And this injury looked a lot more like what was documented by medical records than this injury. My indication, my testing results was that this was a deliberate act.